So first thing first, welcome on board. And I'm sure that you guys want to have, in fact, we will make sure that you guys have a pleasant and pleasant training scheme going forward for the next 3.5 4 months. So first again, right, so welcome on board. I hope you guys are all charged up or geared up for the program. I understand a lot of you would be working as well. So taking out time, it's a bit difficult, but I'm sure this is what we guys are here for. So, you definitely gonna crack this nut over the weekends for the next 3.5 so 4 months till the time you get through the program. Come on board once again. Introduction followed by that, taking you through the program content and how do we go about training mechanism. If I can just give me a minute.
Guys, just 2 minutes, please.
Hi guys, is it better now? Perfect. So guys, I will just repeat myself what I was saying. So once definitely, welcome on board to Ematicus Learning. The program which you've chosen is Data Science Pro Degree, which is powered by KPMG, right? So first thing first that we are going to make sure that you go on a training scheme which is pleasant and as far as the, satisfaction level as well. But as I understand, a lot of people are also working professionals out there. So I understand it is a bit difficult to take out time and, to devote enough time for the program, but this is what we are here for, right? So over the weekends, next 3.5 4 months, I expect everyone out here to give their best shot because that's what we are here for. So guys, this is we are launching the batch today, right? So it's an pure online batch wherein we have an online sessions, and we have participants coming from across the country, right? So we will be keeping this medium of communication majorly to English because other languages, we won't be going to vernacular languages here. So majority of the content delivered will be in English itself. And of course, if you feel that there is something which you are lacking on, you can definitely come up and take it away. So guys, today's session is all about launching this batch. First, of course, I will be taking you through the Ematicus journey and some important aspects which are very much important and relevant to you guys from our perspective. Then we'll be having training and governance team taking over, and they will be taking you through the content which is going to be delivered and the mechanism how it is going to be delivered in the next 3.5 4 months. So let's begin with the session today. So guys, this is about Ematicus, right? Who are we? What are we? So we actually launched Ematicus way back in 2012, and the people in the slide, Nikhil and Sonia, the founder and co-founders. So they have been working themselves in good investment banks across the globe. Nikhil has worked with JP Morgan, Lehman Brothers, and Nomura for example. And then now again, Sonia has worked with Accenture across the globe location, right? So they found that there is some, there is a difference between the skill set which is required at the industry level and the skill set which is actually available in the talent which you guys have. So just to bridge that gap or shorten that gap is why Ematicus came into existence, to just to keep to make people industry ready and relevant. That's how we were born in 2012. And that's why we say that our programs are driven by a constant need to the job relevant and stimulating, taking into consideration the dynamic nature of financial sectors, analytics, artificial intelligence, and technology markets. So that's what we are here for. We are actually trying to bridge the gap, which is and making people industry ready, so that once you hit the industry, you should be relevant and you should be having all that post which is required to do a specific task. And our mission is no different. It is important improve the quality of human capital to meet the skill set requirement of the industry. That's what we are here for. That's what we are doing for the last good 7 years now. So primarily, we have been prevailing in domains of finance, analytics, and technology. And we're not only in India, we are actually in India, UAE, Malaysia, and Philippines. So these are the locations which we are already, activated ourselves, and Dubai is the recent addition to the list. Even in India, we are actually scattered to a lot of states out here in India itself. So we have Delhi, Gurgaon, we have all the metropolitan except Kolkata as of now. Plus, we have a lot of other tier 2 and tier 2 cities as well in the list. This doesn't have Lucknow and Noida so we already have Lucknow and Noida live. Guys, anything that you want to check, please, go ahead and ask me. You can stop me and ask a question, and if you have any queries around that. Dami, next slide, please. So this is what we have been doing since our inception, right? So this is Marticus in numbers. So we have already trained some 35,000 plus, learners out here with an average rating of 4.68. So as for me, definitely there's still a scope of improvement. We would like to see 515, but yeah, that's how I see. It's a decent start. We definitely need to have there's a scope of improvement. That's why your feedbacks are actually very important. So we will actually talking about how can you rate us, how can you give us feedbacks in the slides to come. So like I said, we are actually majorly in domain of finance, analytics, AI, and technology, and we already have some 20 plus courses around these domains. We believe in global partnerships. That's why we already have some almost 500 plus global partnerships with the different firms out here. And this is the next is 4 lakhs per annum, which is the minimum salary which we have been able to draw on people for fresher. This doesn't include any, this actually makes sure of the person who is just a fresher trying to enter the industry. Apart from B2C, which is retail training, we are already into corporate trainings, and we actually deliver close to 1,500 plus days of corporate trainings per year. This is where we actually interact with corporates themselves and try to upskill or reskill their workforce, which are already working with them. We have a 80%, 87% placement record. Like I said, still a scope of improvement. We are striving hard to move to that next level. We are present in 12 cities across India, which is actually, 12 cities. Actually, like I said, Chandigarh and Noida is not mentioned. So it is, again, it's more than 12 as we speak. The highest salary which we are able to draw on, for a candidate from our side was 11 odd lakhs. And yes, we are capable of delivering a training across Asia. Like I said, we already have centers at India. Now we have started Dubai, Philippines, UAE. So yeah, we are definitely good to go for training capabilities across Asia. Next, please, Dami. Guys, anything on these numbers or anything that we have covered as of now? Yes, Shushma, definitely this is going to be shared as a recording. All the sessions which we are going through here will be recorded. You will be getting access to a link which will be provided to you, and definitely you can go and have a 24/7 access to that. Hi guys, this is what I was talking about, feedback, right? So this is something which we would like to hear from you more often. And that's how we also strive hard. Anything that you feel like there's a scope of improvement or you're lacking somewhere, please do not shy away and let's be very vocal about it. We'd like to hear any appreciation that you guys have, or any suggestions, any issue which you guys are facing. Please be bold enough to gauge us on that level. So we have a lot of options actually wherein you can rate us, your feedback at. So one of those is, of course, LMS. It's a learning matrix, which you will be getting through, and everyone gets that. You have all the presentations and all the content, add one space in LMS, right? So you already have in space where you can rate your assessments, you can rate the, you can actually rate your feedback on LMS. That's the first, touch base for a feedback. Then you can definitely reach out to training governance. Training governance here is Damini, who is going to take care of the governance piece from here. So Damini will be in constant touch with you, and you can definitely reach out to her. And if you have any queries, any suggestions, you can definitely reach out to her and respond to that. We do believe in having some open sessions also, right? Like this is an open session wherein we are having, I am a part of it, and though it's a batch launch, but it's an open session. Similarly, we like to conduct at least one or two a month. So you will be having, very frequent open session wherein you can voice your feedbacks out vocally. And then, of course, you can reach out to me. I am a center head, a business head here. You can reach out to me directly. I will be a part of the WhatsApp group also, which we will be forming after this batch launch, if not already done. So you can reach out to me and again share your feedbacks. Last but not the least, you can definitely mark your feedbacks at vk@emarticus.com and take it forward from there. Sushma, yes, you will be definitely getting the material, right? So you will be in a Damini, we will be taking care of that part. Once we're through with the batch launch, she will be definitely taking you with, running you guys through with it. So you get that course material, plus you have an LMS access also, which I was talking about. So you get an access to that, plus learning materials also. So guys, I guess Sushma is the only one who is checking on, who's checking questions with me. Anything that you feel like, if you have anything, you can check out directly with me as of now, if you have anything in place. Perfect. Perfect. So guys, again, like, like I said, it's a very open house construct which we guys have. So please be vocal. That's what I want to end this note with my presentation side, so that we can take it to the training and governance piece from here on. So one thing again, last but not the least, let's make sure that we make the efforts which are required. One. Second, please be vocal about the feedbacks. We would like to hear you guys. And of course, if it's a negative, we have all ears. If it's a positive, we'd like to pat the back of the positive rated person. So guys, I will just do one thing. I will just take it off from here, and governance and training team will come in place. All the best, guys. Like I said, I will be a part of the WhatsApp group and communication channel. So you guys can reach out to me, and anything you feel like, please, be vocal about it. Thank you very much, guys. All the best. And I hope that you will be, not even hope, I am sure that you will be having a pleasant training experience of it. Thanks, guys. All the best. Damini, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Hi, guys. Very good morning. Welcome to Imaticus Learning. Myself, Damini. I am the training coordinator. I will be assisting you in the journey of your post LMS access, your scheduling part, your recordings, your basic queries, and basically starting to end, I will be there to help you and assist you. We already create a WhatsApp group and few members are there, but few are not. I'm going to drop my mobile number in the chat box after my completion of conversation with you guys. So I request everyone to drop me a message in the over the WhatsApp so I can add you in the group, and we can have a two-way communication. One is over the email and the second is over the WhatsApp group. Just give me 2 minutes. I believe if you are facing a echo, so just give me 2 minutes only. Yes, guys, I'm audible to you enough? Okay. I believe you are able to hear me properly. So yeah, I was saying that we do have a one WhatsApp group, and there would be two-way communications, one over the WhatsApp and one over the email. So if you guys need any assistance or any help, you can reach out to me anytime over the WhatsApp or over the phone call. So I will drop you my mobile number. I will drop you my mobile number in the chat box. Rest, we are going to start with the two important points which is very important in your program. First of all is the grade book. Grade book looks like a report card. So we have going to see your progress, how you are performing in the class and in the module wise. So for gradebook, I have also parameters and the sample criteria which I can able to show you right now. So this is a gradebook. I believe you can able to see the screen properly. So this is the gradebook looks like. So first we do have a three kind of a criteria. One is attendance, second is the mock, and third is the group project. So we bifurcate the gradebook in the 100%. So we first of all the attendance which is 30%, and the mock which is 40%, and the group project is 30%. So the total weightage is 100%. So attendance which we are going to take care of every weekend. So I request whenever you're going to log in the session, make sure that you are going to mention your name in the display, because from there we're going to take your attendance and mark you present or absent accordingly. So second point is mock. We are going to take care of the mock session in the end of the module. For example, we're going to complete the Tableau, and that means the last tool. After that, we have a session with the trainer, which is a one-on-one session, and they will going to ask you questions related to your tools, and you need to answer accordingly. And then that was score is at 40%. And the third is the group project, which is a 30%. So group project, which we are going to assign after completion of the module of Python. So the trainer is going to assign you the project. So depend on the batch size, we are going to create a groups, and you need to prepare the presentation and then deliver in the classroom. And the group project percentage is at 30%. So the total weightage of the gradebook is 100%. So this is how we make the criteria and the parameters of the gradebook. So guys, any question, any doubt, any query related to the gradebook part? I requested every student in the batch, please respond. Okay. I am receiving lot of no that you are clear with the grade book. That's great. Thanks for Mark updating me over the chat box. And next, I'm moving to your criteria and sample for the certificate. So guys, this is interconnect with the grade book. So I'm going to bifurcate this page also, that how grade book and the certificate sample is interconnected. So once you complete your all the modules with the grade book or with all the scoring part, your percentage will becomes like 90 and above, or 70, 89 like this. On that basis, we are going to provide you the certificates. For example, the person who fall into 90 and above, that means they came into the grade A and they are receiving the certificate of excellence. Second, the person who is scoring 70% and 89%, they will be coming into the grade B, that means certificate of achievement. Third, which is 50% and 69%, that means grade C, that you will be receiving the certificate of completion. Fourth, which is 49% and below, you are getting a grade, you will be coming into the grade D, that means certificate of participation. So accordingly, on basis on your grade, you will be receiving the certificate, and this is how certificates looks like. So any question, any doubt related to the certificate part?
Guys, let's make sure that we are only targeting grade A and B. Let's not even see the later two parts on this, please.
So yeah, any question, any doubt you want to ask, guys, you want to check for the certificate part and the percentage? Oma, can you please mute yourself because आपकी background noise से session disturb हो रहा है, please? Thank you. And a request, please. So guys, this is a sample certificate. You will be receiving the certificate of the logo of the KPMG. And I request everyone, so please, whenever they are coming to the session, please mute yourself. If you are not going to mute yourself, then you will be facing an issue in the session. And आपको recording जो मिलेगा, उसमें भी आपको you will be facing an issue. Lovely, you can improve your grade definitely in between your module. It's the reason we prepare a grade book, and accordingly we're going to update you that how you're performing, and you can improve your grade.
Hi, Damini. Can you please tell me what the group project was for?
I'm sorry, Amit, what you just said?
Just a group project. Can you please just tell me about the group project?
Okay, so the group project, so once we completing all the modules, you will be getting the project from the trainer, and you need, and we will going to assign the group based on the batch student strength, and on that accordingly, you need to prepare and present in the classroom. And the topic will be given by the trainer only.
It's in the last after the course.
So once you complete your Python module, you will be getting, you will be assigning for the project, and you need to prepare. So once you're completing your Tableau module, that means the last tool, then you need to present your group project.
There will be only a single group project or a number of group projects?
It would be a one group project. So see, I tell you, for example, you're completing your batch. So depend on the batch size. Like for example, we have 5 or 10 students, and accordingly we're going to create a batch group. And then you will be getting a one project you will be getting the one project, and then you need to present accordingly.
Guys, yes, it's a KPMG driven program. Yes, we recently changed from GenPact to KPMG, so that's the reason I guess you're seeing GenPact here. Which, thanks for highlighting. We'll just take it off, and it's a KPMG driven program. Yes. And Shrikant, you were asking why do we have Skill India logo? It is also backed by Skill India and NSDC, which is a government of India run organizations. So that's why you see the Skill India logo also here.
Yeah. So guys, any question, any query related to the certificate part? Okay, so now I'm moving to the one more important point regarding in the journey which you will be, I hope you will be getting from our end. which is LMS Access. So LMS Access is learning portal which you can access 24/7, and you can download this app in your mobile also, and you can use through a laptop. So guys, you will so everyone you will be receiving the LMS Access from respective governance team. So for the Bangalore, Sadaf will provide you. From Chennai, Sujata will help you, and from Delhi, I am going to assist you, and from the Hyderabad, Uday will assist you for the LMS Access. I'm going to show you how LMS Access looks like. Before logging into the LMS Access, I would like to tell you about features. So in the LMS, you are getting all the information in one go. So starting first tool to till end. So for example, you will be data science is your first module, and then you will be getting data science, R, Python, Tableau, all the modules and LMS Access. So once you go into the page of Maticus Learning Portal, you need to enter your username. Username would be your email ID, and the password would be Ematicus1. Ematicus I would be the capital letter. You will also getting an email through admin, and we are also, and on that email we already mention your all the details, login details, and you can log in accordingly. So once you enter your all the details, you just need to sign in, and this is how Ematicus LMS looks like. So this is just give me a minute. Yeah. So I believe you are able to see the proper LMS Access. So this is the front page of the LMS Access. So we're going to assign you the portal. So once you're going to log in, then your the picture will become looks like this, and it will be showing your journey. So for example, Likha is one of the students. So he get the LMS Access, and he didn't yet, he need to start their journey yet. So that's the reason it's showing the 20% completion path. So you also can go through, you just need to scroll down, and then you will be able to see this program, My Core Zone. So you will be able to see the one booklet in your course, which is Pro Degree in Business Analytics. And then the book will become the KPMG Data Science Pro Degree. Then you need to click, and then you will be getting all the pre-recorded videos, quizzes, assignments, PPTs, additional readings we have already provided you. And these are so the PPTs which the trainer is going to run in the class, you also have in your LMS Access. So all the videos, this is a pre-recorded videos we already provided to you. So this is how it looks like. So this is a video, and if you're going to scroll down the window, then you will be able to see the PPT. So this is the class presentation. All the presentations are also there. And second, we do have the additional reading for you also. So we also have the quizzes for you in the LMS Access, and we do have an additional reading. Again, I'm mentioning you see so there's a lot of thing in the LMS Access. You just need to explore, and you will get lots of information related to your program. And one more important point in the LMS Access, if you need any help, any assistance related to LMS Access, you can first drop us an email directly to respective governance team, or you can message us, even you can mail us through LMS also. Right, you just need to click on the question bar, which is came as like a help, and it will be showing as a contact us. And then you need to one second. Yeah. So then you need to enter the email ID. For example, my email ID is dhamini.datta@ematicus.com. And the subject, whatever the concern you have, and the the issue which you are facing in the LMS access, and the training location. If you are from the Delhi center, then you need to click the CP. If you are from Bangalore, then you need to click the Bangalore location and then submit. So we will accordingly assist you and help you. Any question, any doubt related to the LMS access? Guys, any questions, any doubt, please feel free to ask.
Hi, Damini. Pooja here.
Yeah, hi Pooja.
Hello.
Yes, Pooja. Go
Yeah,
on.
will the recorded lectures also available in the learning portal?
No, Pooja. So the recording section we were going to upload in our private channel, private YouTube channel. So LMS is something different, and you will be getting all the recorded live recorded sessions in our YouTube channel.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yeah, hi Damini, this is Shrikant. Is there any expiry for this credentials or we will have the lifetime access?
For LMS access you are talking about?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so Shrikant, for example, that you are starting your batch from now, so when till the batch is over, for example, I'm just giving the example, if your batch is over in December, so you will be getting the LMS access till more than 3 months. So that means till March, you will be getting the access of your learning portal.
Okay, and this the study material is downloadable, correct? We can download this on the local machine.
So in this LMS, so few things are and few are not. So if you require any, assistance or anything, you can reach out to me. I'm going to drop my mobile number in the chat box very soon, so you can accordingly approach to me, and I will help you on that part. Okay. Any other questions related to LMS access? Or anything you want to check related to the training part, any query? I see there's a number of students, log in today in the session, but few are, answering our questions. I request every single student, they need to be a response in the chat box, or if they have any certain doubt, any query, please speak or type in the chat box. It's very required because we want you to feel like the session to be very interactive. Otherwise, it looks like that we played the YouTube video and you're watching and you're not then session end हुआ and then cut. So please वो चीज नहीं करनी है. So please make sure that you need to be very active in the session.
So Damini, one more question. Instead of downloading these R and Python, is there any portal on which we can run the code online? Like we can run the queries, SQL queries online. So there are a lot of websites which provide that facility. So if at all we are not in the condition to download these tools, are you giving any alternate options to trainers where we can run the code online?
Yes. Trainer will going to assist you and help you in every session, so don't worry. So regarding you're asking that the tools or anything, we will be there and support you. If you require any assistance, I'm saying, if you require any assistance in the journey and if you think that you require in the in your laptop for काफी time तक, so we will definitely assist you on that point.
Okay, fine.
Lovepreet, you are unable to log in your LMS access right now. I understand because you're not getting your portal access now. So you will be receiving the LMS access very soon. So by today, the candidates will be receiving the LMS access over the email. Anything else, guys?
Hi, Damini, Swati here.
Yeah, hi, Swati.
Actually, I wanted to know, hello, are you able to hear me?
I'm able to hear you. Tell me. Yeah, Swati.
Hello, actually, hello.
Yeah, Swati.
The sorry, some connectivity disturbances is there.
Not an issue, please.
Uh,
Swati, if you are facing any internet issue, you can type your query in the chat box also. Swati, I'm not able to hear you, or your voice is not coming. So, can you just type in the chat box so I can able to assist you? Guys, apart from Swati, do you have any doubt, anything you would like to ask? Okay, so first of all, you don't, if required, Swati, then you need to download, and we will assist you for the download parts. And the second thing that there's a total 5 modules like data science, R, Python, Tableau, and SQL. So for every software, like for example, R tool, the trainer will going to help you to download how we can download the ARM tool and how can we use it in your laptops. Any other question, guys? Okay, this is all about from the training part. I also messaged my WhatsApp number in the chat box. I request people who are not added in the WhatsApp group yet. So please start after completing the session. Please message me over the WhatsApp so I can add you in the group. And Amit is available. Amit is here, guys. So shall start the session now. Amit, I'm making you the presenter, and we can begin with the session. I'm repeating, person. I drop my number in the chat box. I request if anybody, for the people who are not added in the WhatsApp group yet, please WhatsApp me with your name. So I will add you in the WhatsApp group. You can message me after your session. Not now. After the session, you can message. Ajay, I drop my number. So request you to please see the number and message me over the WhatsApp. I will add you. Yeah, Amit. So you are the presenter. You can we can begin with the session. Thank you, guys.
Dominic. Hi, a very good morning to all of you. I hope my voice is loud and clear to everyone. Okay, great. So thank you for your response, all of you. So I can see all of you are able to hear me. Oh, very warm welcome to this data science program, right? So, so let's start with this journey, right? So I'll just start with a brief introduction of myself. Okay, so hi all. So my name is Amit Goyal, and I'll be your instructor, trainer, facilitator for this R module and some of the other modules as well. Going forward in this training. So I would like to introduce myself. So I have more than 10 years of experience of working into BI and analytics, and I worked for the different, I will say, the clients across the globe which are into retail, finance, and insurance, and I have delivered and developed a lot of analytical solutions for them, which are kind of related to building of the dashboards or building of the reports, and apart from that, building up certain statistical solutions, doing predictive modeling, and building up the different kind of solutions for the different kind of clients. So I know in this I have worked upon, so as to give you a flavor that what kind of work you will be doing when you get into a job, or maybe probably I would say when you get into a career of this data analytics. And definitely the training is also going to be a completely kind of a project based, where you will be working upon the industry standard projects only, and that is how you will Okay, so I have my forte on the tools like Tableau, Power BI, SQL, R, Excel, VBA. So these are the tools that are widely used in a day-to-day operations of a data analyst or a data scientist. Right, these are the tools that they use every day in order to get the solutions for the the different clients that they are working for. That is a lot about me. So it's more than 5 years now that I have been taking these trainings and training the people on the various tools and technologies. So yes, so that is more about me. Okay. So let us start with this little brief introduction around what data analytics is, what do we all understand from it. So I would like to hear it from you all. Okay. So probably you can give me some what are your thoughts on when we talk of the word data analytics. So I would like to hear from all of you. Yes, so all of you. So you can tell me what do you understand by the term data analytics, data science. Okay, Shrikant says predictive analysis. Okay. Okay, analyzing the past data and making future predictions. Okay. So that is again, goes onto the same line where you are talking about predictive analytics only. Others? Okay, so Akshay, working with data and statistical analysis, organizing the data, right? So Yash has a good answer: to organize data in such a manner that it creates, a utility. Okay, Omar says there is a difference between both. The first digs deep and data, while other provides useful insights and actionable data. So insightful analytics using the tools. Perfect. See, so when we talk of this term data analytics, okay, so data analytics, let's just forget about for the data word right now. Okay, let's just talk about the term analytics. Okay, so analytics is basically a word that is derived from the the English word only. Analytics is not a technical word, right? It is not a technical word that we talk of. Analytics is more about your thinking capability, right? Your aptitude. That is what analytics stands for. So now, given a situation, how wide, how fast, and how quick you can think, that is what analytics is all about, right? And when we connect this word with the data, when we say, probably I like to use This is so right. So I was talking about the term analytics till now. So now analytics is more about your aptitude thinking. And when we apply this aptitude thinking related to the data, it becomes data analytics, right? So given a set of a data, what you can derive out of it, what, you know, I can say, what are the inference that you can get from that data? That is what completely data analytics is all about. That is, so given a set of data, how many different inferences you can take from that, that is where this data analytics comes into the picture. So now why this data analytics is becoming so popular? Can anyone tell me why is it that now data analytics, data science, we are hearing so much about it, so much? I mean, you know, every day in the newspaper, on the YouTube, on the, I mean, you know, even if you're watching the TV and all, we see a lot of, you know, the things around data science and data analytics. Why has it become so much popular? Does anyone know? Can you think of it? And try to give some examples. You know, I would like to ask you all if you have any examples from the data analytics in your day-to-day life. Let's just not think about big companies applying data analytics. Where do you all think that, you know, you apply data analytics in your day-to-day life?
Like Amazon use the data science, like you consume the things, uh, whatever we search, it presumes and give a more efficient products like that thing.
Mm-hmm. So, but that is like, see, again, you have taken an example from one of the, you know, the industry standard examples, like how the companies are using data analytics. If I ask you that, where do you have applied data analytics in your life?
Yes, Amit. So, you know, when we are going to buy the vegetables and going to the grocery shop, so which shop will be providing us, you know, better prices in terms of buying some food or some other grocery stuff. So that's where we can apply this data analytics. How far is the shop? So if at all you have to pay something to reach there, so all these things you can apply, you know, the aptitude thinking while
Exactly,
going to the
exactly,
shop.
right?
That can save
See,
our money.
that's a very good example, right? Like the same thing, like whenever you go to buy something, before buying something, what you do is you do a complete analysis, like which store is giving that same item at what price? What are the other benefits that the shopkeeper or the seller is giving it to you? You compare all those things, you collate all your data, and then you finally take a decision that, okay, you know, now I have to buy this product. Right, so this is the example of this data analytics where we are applying it in our day-to-day life. Apart from that, anywhere else you think you are applying data analytics or you see the things happening around you?
Well, while
Huh?
driving, we take the best possible route so that we can save time.
Right,
That
right.
can that
Yeah. And see, over there, what you also do is you take into the consideration your past experience as well, right? You see, you remember that, okay, you know, last time when I took that route, there was a lot of traffic at that point in time. So probably I should take a different route that I'll find that, you know, traffic at the same time since you're traveling over there. So again, you know, you think and then you take a decision. That is again data analytics, right? Then similarly, if you would have seen, you know, so now I'll give you some small examples that you might would have seen, but you have never thought that, you know, these are also the results or the outcomes of data analytics only. You all would have gone to the supermarkets, right? Did you ever notice that, you know, on the supermarkets, they always keep the chocolates, toffees and all nearby to the counter? Have you all noticed that? Whenever you go to the billing counter over there, you will always find big bunch of toffees, chocolates, and all that quick stuff over there. So what's the reason for that? So why do they keep all the chocolates, toffees, and everything near that? Right, Pooja. So you say that during billing, kids can ask, right? And you know, it is also a general habit that if you're waiting in a queue, right, as a tendency, you know, what can happen is you might pick up some chocolates for yourself as well. that, okay, you're just waiting in the queue. Let me pick up quickly grab that quick chocolate or maybe some, chewing gums and all. So that is why they keep it over there. Kids, right? They will make a lot of noise around that counter that, it's taking a lot of time. We want something to eat. So that is again, right? So it's a simple analytics that a person will, while waiting over there, he will just add on some of the stuff into his bucket, right? That is the analytics that you see in your when you go to this when you enter a superstore. Okay, and any other thing that you would have noticed that whenever you enter the superstore, what happens is you will always find the deodorants, your cosmetic section always at the starting, and you will always find the section of groceries and your vegetables always in the last. Have you noticed that? And when you go to any superstore, you will always find, right, when you enter any of the big bazaar or any stores, they always have that cosmetic sections first, and then they have the later on they have the grocery section, because they want to attract the people. Now they know that when the person enters, he will be attracted and he'll buy their stuff quickly, because ultimately groceries he has to buy because he has come up for that. Even if the person gets tired, still he'll buy all his groceries. But the high margin items, they are something they want the person to pick up first, because that will also decide their ticket as well, right? Ticket size as well. If a person has come up with a budget of 10,000 or 7,000 for a shopping, if he will spend that money beforehand itself, what will happen is, that means there's a less chance that he will buy those deodorants and all. So that is why they keep all that stuff beforehand, so that they can pick up that stuff beforehand, and groceries they can adjust accordingly. So this is all analytics, right? This is all analytics that we see in our day-to-day life as well. And you would have seen gone to shops nearby the grocery shops that you have. They always said every shopkeeper sells milk. Every shopkeeper sells milk, right? But the profit margin in the milk is very, very low, right? It's just like 25 paisa, 50 paisa that they earn on a packet of milk. And if one packet of milk gets damaged, the loss is of around 25 to 30 rupees, right? But still they keep that market, that their packets of milk. What's the reason?
Because it drives customer.
Yeah, so it drives the customer, because in the morning, it is always the first need of a person is to have some milk, right? When he goes to buy milk, he also buys 5 other products. He'll be buying bread, he'll be buying butter, he'll be buying biscuits, and some other grocery stuff that is kind of over at their home. If the shop is not selling the milk, it is very less chance that you will be going to that shop, right? So even at a very low profit margin, the shops, they keep the milk so that the people come to their shop, and with that they will be buying 3 or 5 other products as well. That is, those products will be the ones that will be giving them the profit. Okay, so this is how we use analytics in our day-to-day life as well, which we have never realized that there is so much of stuff that is happening around us as well, and our decisions are being influenced because of this, all the analytics that is being applied by the different the shops or the different businesses or the e-commerce websites that we go on to do some shopping and all. Okay, so now the thing that has happened is, the reason this data analytics has become so important. So it is not a new concept, right? Data analytics is not something that has come up into the market like just 3 years back or 5 years back. Data analytics is something that is being used since ages, right? Like 1960s, 1950s, 1970s also data analytics was used. But in this decade, right, if I talk about this 2020, this complete decade after the 2010 that we had spent, this has been actually a very revolutionizing, the decade that we all had. And the reason for that was the internet. Okay, internet actually changed everything. Now the amount of data that we are generating, right, the amount of data generated is very, very high as compared to the amount of data that we were generating like 7 years back or 8 years back, right? Today, everything is dependent upon the internet. If you have to buy something, you pick up your phone. You have to travel somewhere, you pick up your phone. You have to watch something, you pick up your phone, right? You have to order something to eat, you pick up your phone. You have to book a table at a restaurant, you pick up your phone. Like each and everything that we are doing today, there is not a single thing that where we are not using the internet. Tell me, right? Like for any task that you do in your day-to-day life, if you have to figure out, which phone you should be buying, you Google search it, you make the comparison. You have to decide that which should be your next travel destination. You pick up your phone, you start exploring different websites, Make My Trip, GoIBO, and all that stuff, right? You have to take a cab, you right away pick up your phone, you book a cab with the help of Ola or Uber, whatever application you want to use. So that is where the reason is. Even in fact, all the gadgets that we are using today, right? I'm pretty much sure that most of you, like all of you, are definitely having a mobile phones. Secondly, most of you would be having a smart TV at their home, right? The TV is connected to the internet with the help of an Amazon Fire Stick, or or it's a pre-built that internet-based television that you are using right now. Laptops, your watches are smart. They are capturing all the data that whatever steps that you are taking. I mean, all the gadgets that we are using, they are very, very, every gadget is connected to the internet. That is why, you all would have heard the term of IoT, Internet of the Things, right? All the gadgets are being connected to the internet. These days, we have homes also, which are operated by internet, right? You just say, turn on the lights get on. You just give the instruction that open the curtains get opened up. So how are all these things operating? Your Alexa, right? You tell your Alexa to play your favorite song, it starts playing your favorite song. You are using iPhone, you use Siri over there, right? On the Google, every device has its own voice assistant. How does it work? It completely works based upon the data only, right? It learns from you what are your preferences, what do you like. Based upon that, it keeps on getting updated. So that is why this data analytics has become so much widely used thing in almost every industry. Now analytics is something that is used in almost, like you name the industry: civil, retail, finance, insurance, mechanical. Every industry uses the analytics. Why? Because data is something that is generated by all of them. There is not a single industry that is not generating the data. So that is why this data analytics is becoming so much important. Okay, so we have Uma, you are saying the voice is breaking. Do you all feel that break in my voice? Okay, so Raghu, I'll be just coming to your point that what's the difference between data analysis and data analytics. I'll just come to that. Okay. Okay. So the voice is clear. Perfect. Now what I'll be doing over here is I'll be taking a small example over here. Okay, I'll take a small example over here to make you understand how this journey of data analytics start. Okay, that is very, very important, because most of the time what people think is that they just have to do the predictive modeling and that's all. No, that is not analytics. Analytics is basically a very, very wide area which you need to understand the entire journey of the data, the entire reporting, and finally the conclusion from the data. So it's a big, big journey that takes place. So let us understand that with a small example over here. Okay, so like we have a small so there's a small case study that you see. There is a company and he's the owner of the company that we have over here. His name is James. Okay, and he owns a company that is My Products. Now this Harry in this, okay, and then there is a consultant, freelance business consultant, and her name is Amy. Now okay, so now what happened was, like, this company was started in 2012, My Products, and was an upcoming e-commerce retail organization which gained a profit of $2 million in 2015. However, this growth was short-lived. Starting from 2016, the company had a major loss in terms of profits and revenues. Okay. Now the company was facing a lot of, in the starting, they had a big profits that they were gaining. But after 2015, the company started facing loss in terms of profits and revenues. Now that is why you can see this meeting is happening over here. Right, so we can see this meeting is happening and all the people are discussing that what's the reason for that the revenues and profits have gone down. So now, once the discussion was done, so these were the challenges that were discussed over there. So business related data is scattered across different locations and data needs to be extracted from different applications and databases. See, now what happened is, like for any business and for any company. So whenever a business starts, right, you take an example of any big e-commerce chain, they never start as a big firm from the day one itself, right? The companies, they start growing over a period of time. And what happens is that as the companies keep on growing, one thing they always forget to take care of is the data. That is the, one thing that every company faces a challenge with. They do not realize the importance of the data from the day one. They get to know that data is so important only after 3 years or 5 years, when they already have generated the data, which is now scattered across different places. Okay, if a company has its office at 5 different locations across the globe, so every location will be maintaining its own data. Okay, so to grab the data from that multiple locations to one single place is their first challenge that they have. Okay. Then the second challenge that these companies have is the data is stored in different type of databases. Now what happened is that someone is storing the data in the Excel file, some is storing the data in the CSV file, someone is storing the data in a database, some is storing in some Word document or any type of a file that they could store and put their data in. So now that is the challenge too. Now what happened is, since the data is at multiple locations and is in multiple formats, the data has to be cleaned and transformed. Data has to be brought into a format where it can be, like put into one single place, so that if they want to analyze something, if they want to bring up some conclusions from there, they should be able to do it, because you cannot use a data which is broken up into multiple portions. Now the third thing is, okay, we understand that the data is scattered into multiple places, so they need a sophisticated tool with the help of which what they should be able to do is they should be able to place all the data into one single place. That is what the challenge, the third challenge is, right? So a mechanism is required to collect the insights from the clusters of data and load it into a data warehouse. Okay, so what is a data warehouse? So data warehouse is nothing, right? Data warehouse is just a term that we use where we store all our data. That is what a data warehouse is. Okay, like we have a concept of database, similarly we have data warehouses. So data warehouse is something that stores the truth version of the data. Now this is the data. Now this, like if you see this small, so this is something that will work like a data storage. So all the data from the different data sources is clubbed up and put it up over here into a data storage point that is called as your data warehouse. Okay, now any reporting that has to be done, what they will do is they will be actually hitting this data warehouse to grab the data, to do the reporting or do any of the predictive analytics that is supposed to be done from there. Okay, so if I just quickly summarize it, what I have shown you over here, it is just this, right? You have a data, the operational database, which is into multiple places, multiple styles. You apply some transformation on that, you do some transformation on the data, you transform the data and finally load the data into a data warehouse. And this is the example of business intelligence. Okay, this is the example of a business intelligence, and I'll be just talking about what business intelligence is. class, any questions up till here that you would like to ask? Okay, so Jyoti is clear. Perfect. Okay. So like, like what is data analytics? Now this is the same thing that you all were giving me as the definitions over here, right? Data analytics is basically a process of inspecting, cleansing, transforming, and modeling the data with a goal of discovering useful information, suggesting conclusions, and support decision making. Okay, so this is basically the journey of the data analytics. Basically starts where the data is, the data is already generated. What you are doing now is you're just inspecting it, cleansing it, transforming, and modeling the data to derive useful information out of it. So that is what we understand by data analytics. The second definition, so this definition was given by Wikipedia. If you see the definition given by Gartner, it says leverage data in a particular functional process to enable context-specific insight that is actionable. Okay, the definition is the same, right? It is just that it is being given in a different textual way. So leveraging the data in a particular functional process to enable context-specific insight. Then data analytics is also about using your current data sets to extract useful information to support advanced decision making. Okay. So there were a couple of questions that I see. Sushma, so you're asking about what is ETL. Okay, I'll just tell you. Vishal, your question is what is data transformation? Okay, just give me a moment. I'll help you with that, what these two things are. Okay, so like data analytics is a process of completely that we understand is analyzing the data that you have. But the analysis is something that cannot be started right away. There are a lot of steps that you might do on it. You might have to clean the data first. When I say cleaning means your data is not in the right format, right? So there are a lot of missing values that you have. There are a lot of the columns or fields that are not required for the analysis purpose. So that is called as cleaning. So you clean that data. Transformation means like the question that you asked, what is transformation? See, transformation is a very, very, a wide term. So transformation could be, the first transformation could be, say suppose in location 1, okay, in location 1, what is happening is I'm storing the I'm storing the iPhone with the code of iPhone. Okay, let me use this over here. Just give me a moment. Okay, so suppose there are some codes that are being maintained. So in one country you are maintaining the iPhone as this, and in the another country you are writing it like this. Okay, so now what will happen is, although the item is same, but they are being represented by two different codes. So in the transformation, what we will do is everywhere we will replace it with Apple iPhone. Okay, so that we have systematic code for a single type of an item that we are having. Okay, that is something that is called as transformation, where what we do is we transform the data in order to bring it onto the same level. And Sushma, ETL stands for extract, transform, right? Like the Pooja has given the definition. So ETL, like over here, it stands for the extract, transform, and load. Extract means extracting the data from the operational databases, the data that was there into the multiple sources. Transformation means you modifying that data, and load means finally putting the data into a data warehouse. That is what we understand by the term ETL. So there are specific tools. Okay, there are specific tools that are used in the market for the purpose of ETL. Okay, the tools are like, one is SSIS. There is this tool SSIS which is used for the same purpose of ETL. We will be doing some sort of an ETL in the R also. Okay, this can be done in your Python as well. Okay, and then similarly ETL will be done in your Tableau and the other tool as well. Why I am saying so is because all these tools that I mentioned over here, which are part of your learning agenda as well, okay, like R, Python. So these are not databases. What we do is we have to bring or import the data into these tools from an external source, and that is called as extraction. That is called as E part. The E part of this, if we do it from over here, then we do the transformation also over the data in these tools itself, and then we start analyzing. Okay, so Omar, like see when I say transformation, okay, so okay, I'll just come to that. See, let me show you something. Let me show you a very quick thing over here. Might be you will feel it a little over here right now. Just okay. See, you know, I'll just show you a small data set. Yep. If you see right now, I had an Excel file. An Excel file looked like this. Okay. It had some headers and it had some subheaders, and there were a lot of hidden columns with me. Okay, I had a lot of hidden columns with me. If you will see, there are a lot of hidden columns as well. So what will happen is, if I'll extract this data and put into my some of the tool. So what I have done is I've extracted that data and I loaded this data over here in my Tableau software. You do not have to worry about right now what I have done. Just understand it from the theoretical, the conceptual perspective. Okay. So if you see right now over here, my headers are not coming properly. These are my headers, regions, countries, and all this stuff. Okay. But these are coming as a part of my data, and my header names are coming like F1, F2, F3, F4, new PC registration, and likewise. Now this is something down. Now this data that I have loaded over here, it needs a transformation. Okay, so what I do is I'll clean the data first. So the first step that I'll do over here is I'll be cleaning the data. First of all, I'll clean the data. So in order to clean the data, so I do not have to do these things manually. I can do it automatically. So I can see now my data is cleaned out. I have the names of regions, countries, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. Now a transformation could be that, you know, my all the years that I have, all the years, they should not come in different columns. All the years should come in one column, and my car sales should be in a different column. So what I do is I'll select all these columns over here and I'll simply pivot it. So this is a transformation that I'm doing. See now, this is a transformation. This is the years. There you have to write a big piece of coding lines. Okay, and then came the second generation where, you know, the amount of coding reduced. Now we are into the genre of third generation, okay, where the amount of coding has further reduced to a lot of extent. All the things are kind of taken care of by the tools itself. And in fact, you know, we have such mechanisms today that the code can be written by the software by itself. You just have to drag and drop the things here and there, and the code will be written by the tool itself. But that is the point where we have not reached yet. Okay, we are somewhere in the middle of these 2 points as of now, where you will have to write the code also, and where we will be using the mechanism where the code will be written by the tool itself for us as well. Okay, so when it comes to learning this coding is more like, you know, I will say scenario based. Okay, it is not something that you will have to kind of remember or keep in mind big pieces of coding or syntaxes that you will have to remember. No, this coding is very straightforward. If you have to load the data from a source, you will say read.csv, read.excel. You specify your source and it can load the data. You have to do you have to find the mean, median, mode. There is a direct formula for that. And you want to do some linear regression on the data, there is a direct formula that is available for that, linear regression, LM, linear model. You want to do some transformation on the data, right? You want to merge the data, append the data, you want to remove some columns, so that everything is very, very structured and very streamlined. Yes, but there is one thing for sure, the people who are from the non-coding background, they will actually, it will take for them a while to realize that what happens, what I have actually seen as a trend is that the people who are from the non-coding background, they feel that the coding will do the stuff for you automatically. Okay, so you have to get rid away with that mindset first of all. So coding is nothing. Coding is whatever you will say, it will do. That is what a code is. If you say you want to read the data and then you want to remove some columns, it will do the same thing. It will read the data, it will remove the columns. Now, if you inverse the steps, by mistake you have written remove the columns, read the data. Is that possible? Yes. Vishal, Mosam, is it possible I remove the columns and then I read the data?
No.
Right? It's not possible. Till the time I have not read the data, I cannot remove the columns from there. So we have to understand that phase first of all, that you have to write, the coding will do the way you will write, the order you will write. If your order is incorrect, you will get an error. If the syntax is incorrect, you will get an error. Now, syntax is something that you will have to learn, right? There is no shortcut for a syntax. Now, every language, right? It's a language. Like if I'm talking to you in English, I need to learn the words. I need to understand the grammar, what grammar is, when to use present case, when to use past, when to use future tense, right? This is a language only. I have to learn that basics, that if I have to frame a word, a sentence, these are the basics that I should know. And then later upon, I can keep on upgrading it and I'll get better and better, more and more I'll practice upon that. And same is the concept with your coding as well. You will have to learn the basics, its grammar, its syntax, and then you will have to apply it. Getting the idea? Okay, so
yeah, it's clear.
So you are into IT sales and also preparing for the armed forces. So now how come data science will help in both the fields? Now that's a very, very strong question. Okay. See, armed forces, I can definitely not give you a very concrete answer for that, right? I'm very honest. So because since I'm not very much aware like how the data science is being used into the military and all, so completely not much onto that side. But as IT sales, I can help you out with it. See, now what happened is the role of a IT sales guy is basically to pitch the customer with what new things and what are the products you can develop for them, right? Because I myself have worked into the pre-sales. So I have not worked into the completely sales, I have worked into the pre-sales. Okay. So you can only sell a product once you understand it, right? If I have to sell you a laptop, if I understand what are the configuration of that laptop is, I'll be able to sell it to you in a better way. Because the reason for that is I'll also be able to understand your requirement better. If you will tell me that, okay, Amit, I want to buy a laptop on which I should be able to watch the videos, I should be able to do some browsing and all that stuff, I can recommend you that, okay, you should buy this laptop. But if I'll be unaware that what configuration is and what all those things are, definitely I cannot give you the best recommendation in that case. Now same is the case with the analytics. What happened is the clients generally don't know that what is the best that can be achieved from their data. Okay, so if you will be having that knowledge beforehand, that if you go to any retail client, you can understand their requirement, then you will be able to give them some better suggestion and you will be able to sell them more services as well as a sales guy. And you should take this, this, and this, because we will do this descriptive also, predictive also, and prescriptive also. Then you can also suggest them, because every tool has its pros and cons. Every tool come with its some the cost factor. Like you have a Tableau, you have a Power BI. Tableau is an expensive tool and Power BI is a cheaper tool. Now, if the client has a constraint that, okay, money is a constraint with me, so you will say, okay, don't use Tableau, go with the Power BI. If you think the client says, I'm more concerned about the functionalities and the features and money is not a problem with me, you will say, okay, then you should go for a Tableau. So that is how you will be able to give the best recommendations. I hope I'm able to answer your questions, Prerit.
Yes. Thanks a lot, Amit.
Sure. Okay, so okay, so Sushma, like you are from the US healthcare insurance. So you work in a company where you are into like a reporting side, or okay, you are helping with the RPA for subject part. So RPA is this, you're right, this robotic automation that you have. Hello. So this RPA is right. This is that, if I understand it right, robotic process automation. Not sure if you're able to hear me. Mohammed, you are saying, can I build a career with this course without any prior experience in the industry, as I was into business and was totally cut from the industry? See, definitely, Naveed, I would like to tell you one thing over here. See, data science is one industry that is non-technical. Okay, please, we have to very much understand this thing first, that it's a non-technical industry. The tools are technical. Okay, the tools are technical, but the industry is kind of non-technical, and there is a big bunch of people who work into this sector. There are people like who will be collating the data, understanding the data. There will be some people, the people who have good expertise on the technical tools like R and Python. Okay, they will write the code and get the things delivered. Then there are people who work on the Tableau and Power BI who make visualizations and interesting reports, okay, out of the data that is being there. So there are different phases that you have. So since myself, I'm a BTech. Okay, so I would like to tell you that I'm a BTech guy. I did my BTech in electronics and communication, and that in 2011. Okay, and I have seen the people from civil background. I have seen the people from the mechanical background. I have seen the people from the the commerce background, and the people from this, the people who have done their bachelor's in arts as well, who are doing really great into this field of data analytics. So that is how this industry works. How these people get selected. I'll tell you something. I would like to tell you over here, that whenever you go for any interview for the profile of data analytics, the first round of interview is not your technical skills. The first round of interview is your aptitude. Okay, what they will do is they will give you 20 aptitude questions, like you all would have done if you would have prepared for your MBA or SSC and all that. Percentage questions, your the logical questions, that A do not want to sit with B, B do not want to sit with C. So how you should set up that sitting arrangement. So you will get all lot of questions of that type over there. Okay, so if you are able to solve those questions, only then they push you to the next level, where you will be working on the basically your these technical skills. Then they will judge you on the technical skills over there. So that is how the things happen. Making sense? So you have to understand the tools and the business, so definitely then you can make it out. Okay, Diksha, you are saying I'm in secondary and business research. How? See, research is definitely, it's very, for research, it is definitely a good starting point, because all the research companies, they are also into the analytics as well. if I just name a couple of companies, right, like if you are working in the research, right, so your company like your eValueServe, okay, your company like Mu Sigma, right, then your company like Gartner, right, the company or this, what was this? It's not right. So mostly all the companies that are into the research, they are stepping into the analytics as well, right? Because research is all about gathering the data, and analytics is all about, you know, figuring out the best inferences from the data. So definitely it's a, you know, stepping stone to ahead in your career if you are already into the research and you would like to transition into the data analytics role. Okay, so Uma, you are saying how quick? See, that totally depends upon the amount of time you will be spending on that coding on a daily basis, right? You will actually have to spend some part of a time daily. Only then you will be able to learn the coding in its efficient way. If you will think that you will just spend the time over the weekend, so that will make it a little tough. Yeah, but if you do, you know, even if you will spend half an hour to 45 minutes on a daily basis, you will definitely be able to, you know, learn the coding. It's not that challenging or it's not that tough. But yes, you know, one challenge that people generally have is, you know, when you learn multiple tools, you know, multiple codings, so people tend to get a little confused over there. That okay, you know, okay, this is the code for Python, this is the code for R, this is the code for SAS. So that becomes a little of something, you know, that the people get confused with. So you have to be very much, you know, careful over there that you spend enough time on each language. So Prasanna, you are saying you have 3 years of experience working for a top MNC. Breaking into this field, how will I be judged? So in which field are you working right now? What is your area of expertise? Okay, so you are into healthcare domain and working as a developer. Uma, you worked on HTML and research on Python to get an idea about the language. Okay, so see, I mean, now this is, you know, learning part is something very, very subjective. Okay, I'll be very honest again over here. So I cannot tell anyone that, you know, you can learn this language in 1 week or 1 month or 1 year, right? It totally depends upon the will, and it totally depends upon the time that they dedicate, right? Yeah. So right. So totally, you know, so right. So the more time, if I'm weak, I'm not able to grab it, put down the questions. And the best thing is, you know, when you are into the training, if you don't understand anything, put your question right over there. Do not wait that, you know, you will write first and then you will come up again that, okay, no, I was not able to understand it. That is one thing that I would like to give as a suggestion, because you all are, you know, starting this thing. So these are few things that you should take care of. And if you think it's not clear to you once, twice, thrice, ask that question multiple times till the time you are not satisfied that you have understood it. Okay.
So this is Prasanna from Chennai. Like as mentioned in the chat box, like I have 3+ years of work experience, you know, working for a top MNC in Chennai. So breaking into this field, like how will I be judged? You know, going in for the interview, do I be considered as a fresher for this field, or else like how will I be judged? And I'm a developer, and yeah, and I work for healthcare domain.
See, what you will have to do is, in your case, you will actually have to tweak your profile a little bit. So that is the best suggestion that I can give you. If you will say that, you have done the training and now you would like to, switch your career. So in that case, definitely you will be treated as a fresher. So the best case in these kind of scenarios is always tweak your profile and let them know that, you are already using those tools in your, for the last 6 months or last 8 months in your company. And, because this career line really interested you, then what you did was, in order to explore and, and learn more skills, you underwent professional training as well. Okay. So by this, what will happen is you will be able to justify that, okay, you were already working. And since you wanted to upgrade and learn new things, you went for a training as well. And that way you will not be considered as a fresher, but you will be considered as a person with an experience. Okay, that is the best advice that I can give. But if you will say that, you for the last 3 years, you have been working into the development and now you would like to move into the data science, then there will be n number of questions that will come up to you. Okay, that, why after 3 years? So since you already have 3 years of experience into the some sort of, development, and also you are like a completely fresher to us, so we cannot give you that hike. So those kind of things will come up in front of you. Getting the point, Prasanna?
Okay, sir.
So Amit, hi, this is Srikanth. I have the same question, but how can we justify our past experience in that case? Because, I'm from the investment banking domain, and as I was eager to learn this and I want to, look ahead for my career, so that's why I enrolled for this course. R and Python is what I want to learn, because this is what we usually use in finance domain, the investment banking domain, for the analytics part. But as if now I don't have any prior experience to the coding, so how can we justify this part, as you have mentioned?
See, now you will be justifying it after you learn these things. Okay, so once you learn R, you learn Tableau, you learn Python. Okay, then what you will do is see, there would be some amount of data that you already would be generating or you would be working with in your current profile, right? Is there any data that you work with?
Yes, I work on the different. I work on the currency and equities. Yes.
Yeah, so what you can do is you can try to utilize that same data in order to build some models or make some reports and dashboards using the Tableau and Power BI or Tableau 2, right? Then, since you already had that understanding of the data and you were able to think of some scenarios which you could build in the R or Python, that way what you can do is you can project that thing into your profile. In the current profile itself, in your current domain, you actually build these models. For the last 6 months, you were trying this and creating these models because as of an interest, you asked your company to move you into the analysis role, right? So that is how you will have to showcase it.
Okay.
Getting the point?
Yeah, got it.
Okay, so Prince, you are saying, do we need strong Excel skills before getting into the Python? Some of us might have an intermediate level on Excel. So do we need to study it while we reach that stage? See, I mean, you do not need advanced level of the skills of the Excel. Definitely, Excel skills will be helpful, but they are not a prerequisite for learning the Python. Because Python is something that will be starting from the scratch. So it is not mandatory that you should be having some background on that. Uma, you have, like in the digital marketing, so how would this be helpful in SEO, digital marketing? So, right, so there is, so Uma, like there is something that is called as sentiment analysis. Have you heard of that? Or text mining? These are the kind of concepts that come under your the hood of, you can call it as the digital marketing, or whenever you have to do some sentiment analysis, like how the people are reacting or behaving towards your brand. So those things come under sentiment analysis. That is done with the help of data analytics only.
Companies like Meltwater do sentiment analysis.
Sorry?
It's like Meltwater. They do provide sentiment analysis and social media analysis.
Okay, right. So I've not heard about this company. The company name is Meltwater.
Right.
Okay. So because this is done by a lot of companies. In fact, KPMG also does that. Okay, sentiment analysis, where basically when you have to do some deal, right? When you have to crack a deal, say suppose Maruti wants to buy any of the automobile for a brand. What they will do is, first of all, they will do that sentiment analysis, like how the people feel about that brand, right? So only then they will go and buy that brand, or kind of merge with that company. So there is something that is called as your sentiment analysis, text mining, deriving out. For example, this when you talked about social media analytics, right? Social media analytics is like grabbing up the data from Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram and all, in order to have that understanding how the people are reacting to your brand. Okay, that is again sentiment analysis. So you cannot. So there are millions of tweets that you see on the data, right? There are millions of tweets that you see. For example, there is a movie that released. The many people said that it's a good movie. Some said very good movie. Some said poor movie. Some said waste of time. Now what you're doing is you're doing some text mining over there in order to understand what word means what. And definitely you cannot read 1 million tweets in order to give your justification whether the people like the movie or they didn't like the movie, right? So that is something that comes under the hood of predictive, the text mining and text analytics as well. I mean, there are a lot of things, definitely, as a starter, otherwise people might get a little confused at what I'm talking about. But yes, slowly and gradually, you all will be able to understand all these things in a lot better way. Right? Okay. Anything else you would like to discuss with me over here? Because in the next session, we'll be starting with basically the R, right? Functionality of R we will be starting with. No, not that much, I would say, right? So SEO is more like, basically, I mean, because as far as I know, SEO is more about, when you search something, how your web links or something should come up, right? That is basically what that SEO is. So over there, it is not that much of analytics that is required. It is more like bringing your websites to the top. Okay. I mean, definitely there could be the next steps that, what are the keywords by which your brand is searched the most, right? Or related to your job, I mean, the services that you are providing, with which type of keywords people try to find, your services. Like, for example, if I have a salon, so people will be trying to find out more and more about, like, the best haircut, or maybe, the best hairstylist, or maybe best, kind of services. So those are the keywords that you put up into that SEO. And names comes up over there, right? Yeah, so that is more like research, that I would say, but not exactly analytics. Okay. Okay, so I think that is, where we'll take a pause for today, everyone. So definitely we'll start with a lot more exciting things in the next session. So we'll be starting with the R. So before that, what I would like to do is, I would just like to tell you how you can install the R. Okay. So you can please follow these steps so that when the next session starts, you all have the R installed with you. Okay. So I'm sharing this link with all of you. From this link, you actually have to install this R from here. Please do that. Just putting this link on the chat. Okay, you just click on, if you're using Windows, you have to click on this. If you want to click on over here, you can click over here, right? So download R for Windows and just click over here, install R for the first time and download R for Windows. You'll be able to download it. Okay, so that is how you can download this R. So I'll just share that link with you. And after this, once the R is installed, okay, you will have to install one more tool, that is RStudio. Let me share that link as well. So first you have to install this. Okay, it's a simple process. You just have to click on next, 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 and everything will be installed. And for RStudio, you have to come up over here. And from this, you just need to download this RStudio desktop. I'll share this link also with you over the chat. I'll tell you what the difference between these two is. I'll be telling you what is R and what is RStudio desktop. So do not worry on that, why are we installing it and what they are. Do not worry on that. I'll be giving you and explaining you what these two things are. Okay.
With the next session will be tomorrow.
No, it will be the next week, Saturday. Yeah, so you have to download this, the open source edition, right? If you will come over here, just click on this download, RStudio desktop. This is the version that you have to install. Okay, it will bring you to this page, and the free version that you have, you just have to download this. Okay, this is the one that you all have to install. Okay guys, so please try to install it if you still face any doubles and all. So definitely we'll discuss that in the next session. So nothing to worry. Okay, so thank you all. So see you next week and we'll start the things from there. Have a great week ahead. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all.